I'm not the biggest fan of choose your own adventure type of games. It seems like I would be because I do appreciate the open-ended nature of storytelling that can be done in games and the concept of having a given narrative that then can be expanded upon through gameplay. But most choose your own adventure books just end up falling flat for me because I feel like I'm just reading a paragraph, and even if I have something to do at the end of the paragraph, I'm just kind of looking ahead to go to find the number to go to the next paragraph, and I don't really get engaged with the story at all. One exception to that has been the Dark City Games products. Now, these are not exactly choose your own adventure, so I have to say that up front, and maybe that's why I can't quite say they fall into that category. They're a real hybrid between choose your own adventure type books and a solo RPG kind of session with a lot of scaffolding. And potentially you could even play it as suggested here as with a GM reading the paragraphs and then having one or more players playing them. I think that could probably work too. And the latest offering here from Dark City Games is Terrors of the Night. I've done a video before on a Dark City Games game. They kind of quietly release a lot of games in many different with many different themes and all kind of following a similar format, which I'm going to highlight here and just show you a little bit about it. I'm not going to play this game because that would indeed ruin it, but I am going to hopefully tell you enough about it to let you decide whether it's something that would be of interest to you to purchase. As I said, it's really it's a paragraph driven hybrid sort of RPG ish, not ish, I guess RPG type of game, and it comes with a fold out map here that has different things numbered different boards. These will correspond to various paragraphs of the book to help you set up your characters on the board, because when you have encounters in combat, you are playing it out with these counters. And in fact, there's about 37 counters here that come with the game. It's said inside that there may be reference to more NPCs that you may need to create characters on your own for. I don't know yet. I haven't played it yet. But you can see that the hybrid nature of this, because you're actually setting it up to do combat, to involve things like distance and line of sight and things of that nature for your encounters. But what are you actually doing in the book? Well, the story is there is a new evil in Red Point. Citizens disappear at an alarming rate. Every day, people from all walks of life report their missing loved ones, and the town watch suspects that they're being abducted. The Watch has evidence to indict a notorious wizard of ill repute named Arson Rejax, but the Watch lacks the resources to catch him. And there is a bounty out on his head, and you are the one tasked with helping clean up this town. It says Terrors of the Night is a set of 3 fantasy adventures designed for solitaire group play. And here is the credit to Dark City Games where you can find and purchase this product. Inside, it opens up. Well, let me show you first of all the credits for the game. This game was sent to me by one of the designers, by George Dew, and it is for 3 to 4 characters, each with 32 to 34 points. So what does that mean? When you get the book, if you buy the book, do not open it up originally to the front. Go to the back, the very back, where the rules are, because this is what you'll need to know to understand how to play the game. And it's set up a little oddly because it starts out well, again, I would have put the rules in the front, but it starts out with some bookkeeping things at the end of the paragraphs. But really what you need to start with is the rules here to understand that you are playing a character or characters, and they have stats that will be familiar to you if you're familiar with RPGs. And then you get some rules that are actually fairly detailed for what it is. You've got a bunch of pages of rules here that cover things, not only combat, but there is magic, there are items, there are spells, and there's enchanting, and all different types of movement. And things like kinetic movement, magic kinetic movement, and morphing and summoning. So it's actually fairly detailed in that regard. And it explains to you how to work with the various stats and the die rolls to determine whether something is a success or not. And you decide on what your character is. And once you understand the rules, then you go back to the front of the book and you start to play through the game. And what's familiar to readers of Choose Your Own Adventures is it begins with a story, and it will explain very basically how you play the game, which is in essence by reading the paragraphs and following the instructions. And then you begin at the first paragraph here, which will give you very many choices of places to go. You could visit a blacksmith or a healer or a map seller, or you could go to a weaver, for example, or you could find out if somebody is actually a necromancer. So you're going to be drawn back to this paragraph again and again as you explore through the game and come to various points, and to go back and be sent out on a journey again until eventually you move through the game and complete the story. And it says here there are 3 stories here. Again, I'm not going to show you, and I actually haven't yet played it myself to see what the stories are or how they end. But this is the general concept. And what I'll say about this product is that it really, if it follows the other ones that I've played, I think I played 3 of the games from Dark City Games at this point. They offer a lot of gameplay for a reasonable price, and they really offer this feel of a you're creating your own adventure as you go through, but it has a lot of scaffolding and there is a story. So the story really feels alive, even though you are following, in essence, the Choose Your Own Adventure map. But it feels like you're making decisions based on the character, and it feels like you're making decisions based on the rules. And I think that's where, to me, this game product sets itself apart from others that I've played that are the sort of more modern Choose Your Own Adventures that have come out, where the rules almost seem like they almost don't matter because, as I said, for whatever reason, it's just very easy to read a paragraph and say like, oh, well, let's just say I won this combat. Here, it feels like you're actually making use of the rules. And maybe part of that is because of the inclusion of the tokens for the adversaries, as well as the, even though it's basic, the map and maps that you use to differentiate the locations that you are in, that it kind of draws you back to the mechanics of the content in such a way that when I play these games or RPGs or Choose Your Own Adventures, whatever you want to call them, I feel like it's very integrated, that the text is very integrated with the game mechanics, so that it's not simply a matter of reading a paragraph and then, oh, all right, let me find the next paragraph. I mean, that's basically just reading, not even interactive fiction. It's just kind of reading, what would you say, disorganized fiction, or fiction that isn't presented in the paragraph order. So if you're someone that's interested in storytelling through game mechanics and in a kind of solo RPG experience where you are actually having a game or a game master or a structure to follow, yet you can respond per and through your own character, I recommend checking out Terrors of the Night, which is the latest offering from Dark City Games, and indeed Dark City Games itself, where there are many of these kinds of games in very many different themes.